We've already covered 2 levels. In the first video, we talked about how your brain is biologically wired to sabotage you through the inner accountant, the part of your brain that's constantly running the numbers and always choosing the path of least resistance. In the second, we broke down the armor of fear, why procrastination isn't laziness, it's a defense system. Today is level 3, and it's the most dangerous one. Because this time, your brain is using your own passion for self-improvement against you. Look at this desk, a pile of productivity books, 5 open notebooks, 3 gadgets, a habit tracking app, a Pomodoro timer, an Eisenhower matrix printed out and taped to the wall. This is the altar of the modern underachiever. And chances are, you're looking at one just like it every single day. It's time to stop building the altar and start doing the work. Sound familiar? Your day is scheduled down to the minute. You've got the trendiest habit tracking apps on your phone. You've watched hundreds of hours of videos about how to wake up at 5 a.m., how to read faster, how to think clearer. You know exactly which diet is the best and which planning method is hot right now. You feel productive, busy, like you're growing. But if we cleared away all your to-do lists, closed all your beautiful notebooks, and asked you one honest question, what exactly have you created or changed in the last 6 months? You'd go quiet. Not because you haven't been doing anything. You've been doing a lot, just not the right things. You've fallen into the most dangerous trap the human mind has ever built. I call it the motion trap. It's the state where you do everything to prepare for life, but forget to actually start living it. You've been sharpening your axe for years. Your axe is perfectly sharp, but you've never once swung it at a tree, and the forest around you is still completely untouched. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how your brain took self-improvement and turned it into your primary method of procrastination. We're going to break down the biological code of fake productivity, figure out who's actually winning while you're busy making plans, and do the thing you've been putting off the longest. We're finally going to move from preparation to war. But first, we need to understand one thing. Between what you do every day and what actually changes your life, there's a massive gap. And it has a very specific name. There's a line that separates winners from lifetime dreamers. And it's not where most people think. It's not talent, not luck, not who you know. It's in the type of activity you choose every single day. Motion is when you're planning, building strategy, and learning. You're searching for the best gym, reading book reviews, comparing language learning apps, putting together the perfect content plan for your blog, mapping out the structure of a business plan. You're in motion, you're busy, you're making progress, or so it seems. Action is behavior that delivers a direct, measurable result. It's when you walk into the gym and lift a weight, any weight, even an embarrassingly light one. When you sit down and write the first paragraph, even if it's terrible. When you hit publish, even if you're not sure you're ready. When you call your first client, even if your voice is shaking. Stop moving. Start acting. The gap is closing. What's the difference? Motion lets you feel like you're making progress without the risk of actually failing. That's the key point. Sit with that. Motion is progress without risk. And your brain absolutely loves progress without risk. It's its favorite food. Your brain is a genius manipulator. It knows that real action comes with pain, boredom, awkwardness, and the possibility of publicly screwing up. But motion? It's safe, warm, comfortable. You can read 20 books about losing weight and feel like a nutrition expert, while your body doesn't change by a single gram. Knowledge without action is a beautiful illusion of progress. Here's what's happening neurologically. Your brain gets a cheap dopamine hit from the act of planning itself before you've done anything. When you buy an annual gym membership, the inner accountant checks it off. Done. We're athletes now. Your brain already celebrated, and your drive to actually work out drops to nearly zero. You already got the reward. Why suffer through a workout when you already got the reward for planning one? This isn't your weakness. This is your brain's architecture. The same architecture that made our ancestors conserve energy a million years ago. But in a modern world optimized for instant reward, it's turned us into a generation of smart underachievers. We know how. We just never do. We're stuck in an endless tomorrow, beautifully packaged inside to-do lists and color-coded notebooks. And here's where it gets uncomfortable. Because the motion trap isn't just a calculation error. It's a deliberate strategy your brain runs to protect you. The same way the armor we talked about last time does. It's time to take it off. The motion trap isn't just a calculation error. It's your mental cocoon. And it's been perfectly designed to make sure you never break out of it. For most of us, any important task has turned into a personal worth test. Not just a task, a test. Somewhere underneath the surface you're thinking, if I launch this business and it fails, that means I'm worthless. If I post this video and it gets 0 views, that means I have no talent. If I tell someone how I feel and they reject me, that means I'm not enough. Every attempt is a risk of a final verdict. To protect your self-worth from that verdict, your brain switches into motion mode. It's a brilliant defense. As long as you're planning, you remain a person with enormous, untapped potential. The unrecognized genius who just never got his shot. Completely safe. Reality can't touch you as long as you haven't stepped into the ring. That's exactly why the motion trap is so addictive. It protects you and gives you the feeling of progress at the same time. Double reward. Double trap. You confuse being busy with being productive. You check emails 60 times a day. You answer pointless messages in group chats. You build new spreadsheets and rename folders on your computer. You do all of this to feel occupied. Because being busy is your alibi to yourself. I can't start writing the book. Look how much I have going on. You whisper to yourself at 3 in the afternoon, having just finished the 48th article about how to write a book properly. But the truth is, your stuff is noise. It's the shallow end where you splash around to avoid swimming into the deep water. Where it's genuinely scary. Where the only real growth actually happens. And the cruelest part of this trap, it disguises itself as virtue. You're not being lazy. God forbid. You're learning, preparing, improving yourself, being responsible. It looks right. It feels right. People around you might even admire how systematic you are. But the results? 0. Absolutely 0. How do you prove this isn't just words? There's a story that flips everything you think you know about quality and preparation. And it comes from the most unexpected place. In the middle of the 20th century, 2 factories were building cars. One was an American giant. Careful planning before every single change. Long meetings, perfect blueprints before touching the assembly line, months of sign-offs. They wanted to get it right the first time. It seemed like the only reasonable approach. The Japanese factory operated completely differently, radically differently. They made changes fast and immediately tested the results in the real world. Didn't matter if the change was imperfect. Didn't matter if it might not work. The point was to launch it, see what actually happened, adjust, launch again, adjust again, launch again. The cycle was short, brutal, and relentless. They called it a principle, continuous improvement through action, not through planning, through action. 20 years later, the American factory closed. The Japanese one became one of the most efficient and profitable manufacturing operations in history. Not because the Japanese were smarter or worked harder, but because they understood something the Americans could never fully accept. Reality is always smarter than the plan. You cannot figure everything out in your head. You need feedback from the real world. And the real world only talks to people who act, who launch things, even when they're imperfect, even when they're scary, even when they're rough. That's exactly what happens when you get stuck in the motion trap. You try to plan everything perfectly before you start, but you don't have the information you need to make a perfect plan. That information only exists in real experience. It only shows up when you hit start and watch what happens. That's when reality starts teaching you. Every hour in motion mode is an hour without that feedback. You don't get wiser. You only get more theoretically prepared for an action you never take. Here's your perfectionism in action. You want to do it perfectly the first time, so you never do it at all. You cannot improve something that doesn't exist. First, create something, anything, rough, imperfect, frightening, then improve it. Reality will show you how, far more accurately than any plan you could make. Your first version needs to be awful. Your first business needs to be messy. Your first run needs to end with you gasping for air after 200 meters. Your first video needs to get 13 views. That's not failure. That's your first feedback cycle. The one everything real is built on. All right, we know what's happening and why. Now, 3 tools. Each one works at a different level. Together, they close off every escape route the motion trap has. Tool 1. The motion budget. Planning matters. Research matters. But it needs a hard limit. No more than 10% of the time you'd spend on the actual task. If you've decided to learn a language, you get exactly 15 minutes to pick an app. Not an hour, 15 minutes. Then you start. After that, you're required to learn the first 5 words. The best app is the one you've already started using. Everything else is just a prettier way to stay in motion. Tool 2. The 5-second rule. The moment you catch yourself gearing up, count immediately. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. On 1, your body has to start physically moving. Stand up, walk to the desk. This is a physical switch. It bypasses the accountant's logic entirely, because he doesn't have 6 seconds. That's all the time he needs to find 12 reasons to wait. Tool 3. The permission to suck. This is the most counterintuitive of the 3, but it's the one that works at the root of the problem. Perfectionism. Sit down in front of the task and say out loud, I'm going to do this as badly as it can possibly be done. Write the dumbest text. Build the ugliest website. Give yourself permission to be bad. Officially, consciously. The moment the bar hits the floor, the paralysis disappears. And then something interesting happens. The moment you stop trying to be good, you start getting good. Not because your standards dropped, because the fear disappeared. All 3 tools have one thing in common. They switch you from motion into action, fast, without searching for the perfect moment. The moment is always now. There won't be another one. You've been trained to believe that discipline is the road to comfort, that you push through now and then it gets easy. That's a beautiful lie, a comfortable lie, but still a lie. Discipline isn't a temporary effort that ends in permanent peace. It's a constant daily war against the entropy of your own brain. Entropy is a law of nature. Everything moves toward decay, disorder, least resistance. Leave a room unattended, it collects dust. Leave your body without movement, it starts to break down. Leave a skill without practice, it disappears. Your brain runs on the same laws. Every morning you wake up, and the motion trap is already waiting for you. Fresh, rested, ready to work. That means one thing. Every day is a new decision. Not the one you made last Monday. Not the one you wrote at the start of the year. Today's decision. Right now. Yesterday's decision doesn't protect you today. Beating the motion trap isn't an event. It's a habit. When you feel that burning urge to read just a little more, that's the moment of choice. Not tomorrow. Not after the next webinar. Right now, in this second. This is where it gets decided who you are. The person who's always getting ready, or the person who acts. Every one of those moments is a vote. The world around you is getting softer. People are sinking deeper into plans, apps, and beautiful organizational systems. That's your competitive advantage. While they're choosing the right running shoes, you're already running. While they're tweaking the interface on a new app, you're already making your first money. While they're building the perfect outline, you've already written the first chapter. A bad one, but a real one. There's a question nobody asks out loud, but it costs more than anything else. What does 1 year inside the motion trap actually cost you? Do the math. If you put off launching your thing for a year, that's not just a lost year. That's a year without the feedback that would have made you better. A year without the first clients who would have shown you what actually works. A year without the mistakes that would have become your real education. A year in which your competitor, the one who didn't wait for the perfect moment, got all of that instead of you. And now, they're a year ahead. With real experience, real clients, a real understanding of their business. The motion trap doesn't feel like a loss. That's its genius. Every day inside, it feels like progress. But at the end of 5 years, you're standing in the same spot. You became an expert at preparing for a life you never actually started. The worst part isn't that you lost time. The worst part is that somewhere inside you live unrealized drafts. The book you never wrote, the business you never launched, the conversation that never happened, the project that only exists in your head. They don't disappear, they don't dissolve. They accumulate year after year, and their weight becomes heavier than any action you could have taken. You carry them with you, every single day. But here's what matters right now. Not one of those drafts is gone for good. They're waiting, not for the perfect moment, not for when you're ready. They're waiting for one thing only, the first step, the smallest one, the most imperfect one, the only one that moves them from the someday category into the already started category. Every second you spend watching this instead of doing is another second added to the gap. You know what needs to happen. You've known for a while. The only thing standing between you and it is the next 5 seconds. Count with me. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now close this. Go. Whatever it is, the file, the call, the first sentence, do it before your brain talks you out of it. If you're still here, subscribe. Because next week we're going even further down the rabbit hole. And if someone in your life is buried under beautiful plans that go nowhere, they need to see this. Send it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Act.